In the quiet suburb where my family lived, a peculiar event unfolded that left us questioning the boundaries between life and death. It was an ordinary morning, much like any other. I was 9 years old, and the world was filled with a sense of magic and mystery. My faithful sidekick, our family dog Fluffy, was always ready for the day's adventures. That fateful Friday morning, as I was getting ready to catch the school bus, my dad decided to walk me to the bus stop. Fluffy, ever the opportunist, was quick to join us, his tail wagging with excitement at the prospect of a morning jaunt. Little did we know that this seemingly routine morning was about to take a tragic turn. As we stood waiting for the bus, Fluffy, overcome with curiosity, strayed a little too close to the road. Suddenly, a truck appeared, speeding down the road. Before any of us could react, Fluffy was hit. The world seemed to stand still as the truck disappeared into the distance, leaving us standing, shocked and horrified. My dad, always quick to act, rushed to Fluffy's side. The sight that met his eyes was heartbreaking. Our beloved pet lay motionless, a tragic casualty of the morning's unexpected turn of events. I was too young to fully comprehend the magnitude of the tragedy that had just befallen us. The sudden loss of our beloved pet was a devastating blow. My dad cradled Fluffy's lifeless form in his arms, and we shared a somber moment of farewell. In the face of such a tragic loss, my dad made the difficult decision to bury Fluffy in a quiet corner of our backyard. As we said our final goodbyes, tears flowed freely, and a makeshift grave became the final resting place of our dear Fluffy. The reality of our loss was beginning to sink in, and the sorrow hung heavy in the air. Grief-stricken, my dad gently cradled Fluffy's motionless form in his arms, and we shared a somber moment of farewell. This was a spot where the sun gently kissed the ground, a place of peace and tranquility that seemed befitting for our beloved pet's final resting place. Fluffy had loved to lay in this spot of the yard and soak up the sun for hours. The loss was a wound that seemed too deep to heal, and the air was heavy with our shared grief. In a bid to escape the overwhelming sadness, we decided to take a trip out of town for the weekend. We believed that a change of scenery would serve as a temporary salve, perhaps a little distraction from the pain that was all too raw. The open road, the different sights, the unfamiliar surroundings, we hoped, would provide a brief respite from the void that Fluffy's absence had left in our hearts. Our attempt was sincere, but the joy seemed fleeting. Laughter felt forced, smiles were scarce, and no matter where we looked, something always reminded us of our dear Fluffy. His absence was a constant companion that weekend, a shadow that refused to leave us. However, as we returned home on Sunday evening, the setting sun casting long shadows, an unexpected sight awaited us. There on our porch, bathed in the warm golden light of the setting sun, stood Fluffy, his tail wagging, his eyes sparkling with an undying spirit. The sight was so unbelievable that we had to rub our eyes and pinch ourselves to ensure we weren't dreaming. My dad, who had himself laid Fluffy to rest, was in utter disbelief. "I buried him on Friday," he exclaimed, his voice shaking with a mix of shock and joy. It was a moment that defied logic, a moment that seemed to blur the lines between reality and the impossible. It was then we realized that Fluffy hadn't succumbed to the accident that fateful morning. The impact had merely rendered him unconscious, not lifeless as we had believed. In a miraculous turn of events, Fluffy had woken up, dug his way out of the grave, and waited faithfully for our return. The house that had been filled with sorrow just a few days ago was now brimming with joy and disbelief. The grave in the backyard, once a symbol of our loss, was now a reminder of an incredible miracle. Fluffy resumed his place as the heart of our family, his presence a comforting balm to our aching hearts. The tale of Fluffy's unthinkable return became an integral part of our family lore, a story told and retold with equal parts awe and joy. It served as a reminder of the unexpected miracles that life sometimes bestows upon us, the magic that exists in the most ordinary of circumstances. And above all, it served as a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of undying love and loyalty.